As an expert in cons, scams, and cheating techniques, have I ever actually cheated at a poker table? What do you think? In the book, The Expert at the Card Table by S.W. Erdnase, he talks about two players at the table working together. And if they use the right strategies, if they're playing out of the same pocket, in other words, they're colluding, their actions are all based on not just one hand, but several hands, suddenly you're up against one player with three hands. And you can't beat that. And I saw this happening. I saw it happening with three particular players. Two guys that were really likable. They were very nice guys, other than the fact that they were making it almost impossible to beat them. And one guy who just loved to wind everybody up. And that was his move. He would basically get you so anxious and so desperate to beat him that he could take advantage of that. Once I started getting good enough to reach those final tables, I would find myself up against two or all three of these guys. And if all three were at the final table, all three would be in the money. That's how it worked. Because even if one of them got low on chips, one of the other ones would go into a hand with them and then fold, giving them more chips, keeping everybody in the game. Passing chips is what we called it. So I'm in a private game with these guys in an apartment in Glasgow, a huge apartment with tables throughout the apartment. And we started off with a tournament, and that tournament began with a 7-card stud game. I'm not a great 7-card stud player. In fact, it's a game I barely know how to play. I'm pretty decent, as in I can do a lot of damage to my own bankroll with Hold'em, but with stud I have to get lucky. And I got lucky this night. I got so lucky that I ended up at the final table. And I'm up against all three of these guys. Here's the thing. The deck is being passed from player to player. And I end up in a situation. The situation is like this. I've got 6 of my cards out. I'm dealing. The other player, and this is the aggressive one, the one I really want to beat. Now, I've already beat his other 2 friends, and I did that with a little bit of jiggery pokery. But here, I peek the next card. Now, the next card is normally dealt face down. I look at it. This is the last card for each of us, and the top card is the card I need to make a full house. Unfortunately, it's going to be dealt to the other player. So what do? Well, it just so happens I know exactly what to do. There's a move called the second deal. You don't deal the top card, you deal the second card. And it's the type of move that even an expert cheat would never do if somebody was staring at the deck. And we have an audience. Everybody's sitting around us waiting to see if I can beat this guy. So in order to do the second deal, I have to do it perfectly, and I have to do it while people may be staring at my hands. I deal the next card, and I deal a perfect second deal. Possibly one of the best I've ever done. It sails across the table. The card lands face down on his hand beside his up cards. I deal the next card to myself, which was the original top card, and I know that I just made a full house. But things didn't go to plan. What I had given him was the card he needed. It was a heart to make a flush, but not just any flush. That heart gave him a straight flush. So I bet everything, he bet everything, and when I turned over my full house, absolutely positive I was going to win, he turns over that straight flush, and I'm done. And what I realize is, if I hadn't cheated, if I hadn't dealt that second card to him, I would have beat him with those 2 pair. I took it as a lesson. Later, when I'm sitting in my car looking up at the lights of this place at 3 o'clock in the morning, I suddenly realized I just cheated in a room full of Glaswegians. Some of them are very hard men. And if I got caught, I would go straight to the hospital or to the river. I never cheated like that again. Honest.